Must be the season of the witch.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing. See, I told you I'd do it. You're all welcome. That's our new show.
You win.
Bing, 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 boom. Hello, everyone. Welcome back after a long break. This is episode 1 of season 3. If you've just joined, I am Robin at A Tired Witch on Instagram, and I am with the beautiful and lovely Maria the Arcane on Instagram. How are you?
The lovely and
The
phlegmy.
lovely. Beautiful. Did you see the little YouTube clip that I made where I refer to you and there's like the dog whistle? The woohoo!
No, I haven't been on Instagram all day, but I'm going to have to check that out. And I'm deeply flattered.
So, just so
That's
everybody
hilarious.
knows, because we are back from our little vacation, our end of the year vacation that got extended a little bit because our beautiful queen, who is not me, the other queen, the woohoo one, was a little sick. And she's still a little phlegmy, so we're going to be nice to her today, or you're going to catch these hands. And nobody wants that.
No, we're just going to say that it's sexy.
It
and
is.
beautiful. It sounds like I've been a smoker for like the past 30 years, but it's fine.
How is she supposed to live, laugh, love in these conditions?
Oh, you will, and you'll enjoy it.
It's very hot. Let me just tell you guys, I've already heard it.
It's so hot.
Oh, I don't know if
So
anybody
good.
expected something more like calm and chill for season 3, but this is not it.
You were mistaken. So mistaken. I'm so sorry.
If you have just joined us, this is your first ever Coffee and Cauldrons episode. First of all, welcome. This is the greatest podcast you'll ever listen to. Congratulations for being here.
It's completely serious.
This is very serious at all times. Secondly, every single week we talk about upcoming lunar phases and how we can use these in our magical practices. These are not astrological forecasts for your zodiac sign. I know that a long time ago I said I was going to stop saying that, but I feel as though I need to continue to say it. So I'm just going to say it now every episode, and I'm not going to make promises that I'm going to drop it. I'm not going to drop it.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, it's just a general how to use this moon or utilize it to the best of your abilities, or an option for you to utilize it magically. So that being said, on January 31st, we have got the new moon in Aquarius. New moons, when they are existing generally, are all about new beginnings and restarts. Any projects that you're working on that are fresh and new moons are great to utilize for that. And this particular new moon, being in Aquarius, is a very progressive and intelligent new moon. We're going to be looking at magic where it is imploring you to kind of think outside the box, put yourself in a new perspective and in a new mindset, I guess. So this would be like, if you're somebody who has been on the fence about starting something, let's say like meditation, the new moon in Aquarius would be a really good time to start up a project like that. It's also a really good time to use spell work that deals with breaking patterns in our emotions and things that we're super passionate about. So with the start of the new year, I know this is going to sound really cheesy, but maybe you've had some resolutions or goals for yourself and you just quite didn't get that head start that you wanted with the turn of the year. This would be a really good time to reevaluate those goals and look at them with a what isn't working and what is working for me, and create spell work based around that. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes total sense. I feel, we had the Capricorn new moon the last time. Am I right? I'm right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is all about like setting plans and stuff like that. And I think, the Aquarius, like you get a little bit more
Balances it out.
creative with those plans.
The
And like,
Capricorn new moon is really good for setting the like practical intention, but if you're not somebody who's like a type A person to begin with, it might not have worked out as well for you as you would have liked. And so take those same goals, reevaluate it with a new perspective, and perhaps you can do some spell work to get that booty in gear for whatever it is that you were working towards.
Love it.
Yay! Yay, Aquarius new moon!
So, if you just started listening to us, every podcast we talk about a random tarot card. We go over the universal meaning and then our own interpretations of the cards. Hearing others helps beginners form their own opinions, or even those who have been practicing for a while expand their views on other meanings. So this week we are talking about the Three of Pentacles. On the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the deck, you will see three beings in what looks like a church. One of them is definitely a builder or a craftsperson, and they're just like standing on a bench with a chisel to the wall beside them. Their face looks towards the other two who are standing near them. They seem to be deep in conversation. The other two are holding parchment of which looks like plans for a building or image of something that needs to be built. And the universal keywords to this card are teamwork, learning, and planning. So I view the threes in tarot as our foundations. We have an idea of where we want to go, and now we are working on the actual structure of that plan. But first we have to start with the ground. The pens themselves are about external goals. Now, on one hand, whenever we start a goal, most of us reach out to others who may either be more knowledgeable or even just run ideas by someone that we trust. This helps us gain confidence and create those solid foundations to build off of. But it is also important to remember that, you are still the architect of your life and your goals. So it's great to lean on others. Community is important, but it's still up to you to not only do the work, but do it in a way that is actually right for you. And then on the other hand, this card can show the need to collaborate with others on a goal you all are working towards. Like, we are wanting to avoid what usually happens with, let's say, like school projects when someone does all the work, and so fair distribution of tasks is very important here, and meaningful conversation to bring any plans or goals to life. Now, like sometimes this card ends up like in a negative position upright. And when that happens, it can definitely show micromanaging, but we should be careful of that anyways when working along with a team, regardless if it's in a negative position or not. It's really easy to think that we are being helpful when we're just creating more stress and havoc towards our goals. So how do you view this card, Robin, dear?
I can't believe we're doing this. All right. Are you ready? Are you sat? Are you sitting? I agree with you entirely. I have no notes.
What?
No, I know.
What?
We're starting on a high note this season.
The only one.
I entirely agree with you in this card. The only thing I would add is that when I see this card in terms of sometimes, people will ask, or at least in my job, people will ask, can you tell me a little bit about this person? And like the Three of Pentacles will come up, and it's a skilled worker card. So you could see this card coming up if somebody is a construction worker or I don't know, like a skilled laborer of some kind.
Like a team player.
Yeah, somebody who does stuff like, with their hands and oftentimes with other people doing it together. To me, this is a major teamwork card. I think that foundations is a really good way to word it, like you did. But it is a teamwork card, and, it's the full-on teamwork makes the dream work type card. And so, yeah, I don't know. I like this card a lot. I like seeing it. Very rarely do I see it come up and I'm like, oh shit.
I know, same. It's one of those cards where you're like, oh, this one exists.
Oh, right. Things can be positive sometimes.
I see, but I wonder if it's because we are like, even though we work together on the podcast, like we're still our own, business women. Like we're our own businesses. Also,
like,
so we don't really.
When it comes to our podcast, you and I have very distinct roles in what we do. And we sometimes ask the other person for input, behind the scenes when it comes to like the Patreon and the podcast. But in general, you and I, we're a pretty good even division of labor. Or at least we try to be.
It's the 2 of Cups and 3 of Cups that represents our relationship.
Oh, can you kiss me right now because it's working?
Yeah.
Are we about to make out?
You sure? I mean, I'm ultra phlegmy.
Joke's on you. I'm into snotty girls. What you guys can't see right now, I just need everyone to know this before we switch segments, is I have no shirt on. I am hand expressing milk, and Maria is sick. And really what I'm trying to say is
so sexy.
We are
this is
so
the
sexy.
Podcast ever.
This is the sexiest podcast alive. And I just need you guys to take that into consideration when we get to the stirring and not stirring segment, okay? Because I don't see any of this changing by the time we get there. So
chaos, always chaos.
At least we're cute.
Yeah.
So today, Maria and I thought that we would start this season off by talking about some tips that we both have to create or sustain or begin a thriving practice in the new year. I know that seasonal witch season. Hello, welcome to the redundancy department of redundancy. My name's Robin and I'll be your guide. Anyway, we thought we would talk about different ways to just help create yourself a thriving practice in the new year now that witch season is behind us and the new year has begun. So that being said, Maria, what is your biggest tip?
So I actually have a lot to say about this subject, but we'll go through each. But so I think, we all have like a really like, especially if you're listening to this podcast, most likely that, you're on social media and all that. And I think a lot of our community right now is going through this phase of looking at social media and like juggling, handling our relationship with it. So it's a lot healthier. But I think spending less time on social media is a great idea, especially for like newer witches who are just like setting up their practice. I think it's like really easy to get wrapped up in what everyone says and is doing. So many witches on these apps like try to push this like one size fits all approach to practicing, even if it's like on accident, because it's what works best for them, or it is something they heard someone else try on the internet and it's all like they know. And I think like that can breed like such a toxic environment for a witch's practice, especially if they haven't found like their groove yet. And we have fads just like any other community, and it is only heightened in the age of like social media. So like following the crowd instead of doing what actually resonates for you can definitely like set someone up for failure.
Yeah.
How about you?
I have something to piggyback on that. And that is about the twins thing. This is something that I've noticed. I started noticing it about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. But a large creator, and I'm not saying any specific large creator, I'm saying like in the royal sense of creators, right? Will do something, and then all of a sudden I start seeing it everywhere. A friend of mine posted about money bowls, and now all I see anywhere is money bowls. And like money bowls are great. Like I use them. I think they're great. Like,
Was it me?
no, it wasn't you.
Because I did a money bowl.
Was it me? Am I the drama? No, it wasn't you. It was somebody else. Your money bowl was not the same as their money bowl. Like, you guys did it differently, and I've seen people copying their money bowl specifically. And that's all I see now anywhere. And there's nothing wrong with that, because when creators make content for you to absorb, right? Like, it's meant for you to try and to do. There's no shade and nothing wrong with people doing it. But it is a great example of the fact that just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean you have to. Maybe that doesn't resonate with you. Maybe that's something for you to put a pin in and come back to later. Like using the money bowl as the example, it will still be there when you actually need it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I feel that this has been a thing with like books and stuff like that. Like, sometimes books or even social media doesn't leave room for like personal interpretation, or people just forget that they can put personal interpretation. So like, they're adding herbs and stuff like that doesn't necessarily like resonate with them like abundance. Like, they're like, oh, well, chamomile doesn't really represent abundance to me. It does for me, but
me too.
If it doesn't for like someone else, then I mean, that's valid. So then you find something that works for you. But I think like with social media, as I said, it's like that whole one size fits all approach. And I don't know. I feel like if you're not making your practice your own, it's just, it's no good. Yeah.
So my big recommendation for people is to remember that I know that in our community, words like manifest, for example, are kind of like go-to words that everybody uses. And there's nothing wrong with doing manifestation magic. No, there's nothing wrong with it. But I do it. We all do it. But simultaneously, you don't have to always be trying to get material things or
I agree
physical results. So sometimes in witchcraft, or even just being a magical person in general, your practice can also be just simply connecting with, spirit, the universe, your deities, yourself, like whatever your particular practice kind of is focused to. It can just be purely on, that connection and exploring that connection and building that connection. And I'm going to say something, and I need you to know that I cannot think of another phrase for it right now. And I know that
I'm so excited.
I'm cringing. And I know that there's probably people that are listening that are like, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's fine. But for me personally, I hate this term, and Maria knows that, and she's going to laugh.
I'm so excited.
But you can also be doing it just to raise your vibrations, as it were.
Yes.
I hate that expression. It just is so corny to me.
Just because you hate it doesn't mean it's
not valid. Yeah, I know, and you're right. But I hate it. It's just like the fucking affirmations that you love so much. I hate them.
I love them. Give me them all.
But just because I don't like them doesn't mean that it's not 1,000% perfectly fucking valid and true. So the point is that, for example, I'm not going to speak for Maria on this, but for myself, I take a few minutes every morning and I'm lighting candles, I'm lighting incense, and I'm having that sort of moment where I'm sitting with spirit at my altar. And that might be the only thing that's even remotely spell work related for a week or two for me. And you know what I mean? Magic isn't just constantly doing these spells and rituals day in and day out. Those rituals might boil down to much smaller things, such as lighting a protection candle that you keep on your altar, or lighting an offering candle, lighting incense, pouring a cup of coffee for whatever guides or deities that you work with. And there's a very big pressure that is put online for people to constantly be manifesting. And I actually think that if you're in a position where you feel as though you constantly have to manifest, you are actually not connecting on a spiritual level as much as maybe you think you are, if that makes sense.
Like you're asking for more stuff that you want instead of stuff that you need. Like sometimes
and it's okay
our
to
needs
ask for
are like
things.
scary things that we don't want to like go after because it's going to, it's going to be a tower moment where you're going to be like, things are going to be messy for a while, but that's part of growing spiritually and as a person.
Yeah. And so that for me is a really big one. Like learning to just develop the relationship with yourself and your practice from like within, where it doesn't have some like material goal is a big one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is going to look different for everybody. That might be doing the sitting with spirit for a few minutes. That might be pulling a tarot card every day. That might be, like I said, the protection candle. Your protection candle is you're focusing on that and you're doing every single day. It might be meditating, or you know what I mean. Like we have these personal sort of daily rituals. That become a part of our practice.
Yeah. And like to, piggyback off what you said, like, we hear all the time about, you and I hear about all the time not having time to practice or just not having the energy to do so. And, on one hand, like, we have to understand that all of our schedules are different. Robin and I do more magical things because it's part of our job, but most people don't have that luxury. I mean, I'm not saying what we do is by any means easy, but you know what I mean.
I am. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you might have a demanding job, little ones, or even like a chronic illness that prevents you from truly exploring your craft in a way that you wish to. And when it comes to this, you aren't like any less of a witch if you use your actual free time to practice. You want your practice to be a place of comfort and not become another chore to cross off your list. Now, like on the other hand, there are many little ways to practice during the day. Exactly what you said, that won't overwhelm you, by like lighting a 7-day candle that you've spelled for a specific purpose once a day, leaving the offerings, doing the tarot card and all that. I think practicing productive rest occasionally is important. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong with like binge watching shows or like mindlessly scrolling TikTok sometimes, but other times, we should like choose to turn off technology for a moment and instead like draw some tarot cards and meditate. It doesn't have to be mentally or physically strenuous. I don't know if anyone is like me. Yeah, exactly.
There is the occasion, you know what I mean, where you do some really heavy magic or really heavy like ritual work, whatever, that will be draining and exhausting, but that should be the occasion, not the everyday.
Exactly. And that is definitely like occasional for me. Like performing spell work I do perform spell work when it's necessary. I'm not forcing myself to perform spell, like actual, like putting together a spell unless like I need to. But
and I actually think that is a transparency that we as creators have to have, which is that when you see a spell that I've put on the internet, for example, that is actually a reproduction of a spell that I've done. I have never and will never post a photo of a spell that is happening or is going to happen. They're example purposes. And while there might be a candle burning in the background that does involve actual spell work, you know what I'm saying? It's never going to be the actual spell like that I'm doing at that time. And if I do post a spell that I have done, the spell is completed and finished, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that's a continuation. Does that make sense?
No, that makes that 100% makes sense.
I think that
I'm the same way.
A lot of people see people like you and I, for example, that will be posting, let's say, spells quite often or magic stuff quite often, not realizing the sort of truth of the matter, which is that is a reproduction for like an educational purpose, not to like show you something that is that intimate, I guess you could say.
Yeah, definitely. And even if like we do that, I don't know about you, but like as you said, I think that enough time has passed where I feel okay with posting it, but
Same.
That's honestly rare that I do that. Most of my things are reproductions of spell work that I've performed and I have found successful, and I plan to share it with others.
Absolutely. And I think that is maybe something that isn't talked about enough. And I take responsibility in part for that I haven't like disclaimered those things. I thought it was obvious, but simultaneously you have people that express the fact that, I wish I could do that. And it's like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, honestly, like recording like a reel and stuff like that, like your attention is on creating the reel.
Right. It takes the magic right out of spell work when you're videotaping it.
100%. It's a lot of, I don't know, you would be distracted, and you can't be distracted during spell work like that. But yeah, I agree.
I was trying to think of what else I should say about that, because I feel like that needs to be emphasized. Oh, I remember now what I was going to say. You guys, first of all, mom brain is real. Okay, I had that baby. Just all thoughts went right out of my brain. I swear, a part of my brain was removed.
Yeah, it went into your child.
But what I will say is that I do think that people should be doing something for their practice every single day. And I'd like to say that with like that isn't the complete sentence.
Yeah, like the whole mindful, being productive rest. Like
yeah, because I've heard people say similar things online, that you should be doing something for your practice every single day, and the feedback that has been kind of given is that it's perceived, at least, as it could be ableist, right? And it's piggybacking off what we just said, which is that doing something for your practice every day isn't doing a spell every day. It isn't doing, it isn't. It could be something very, very simple, including taking 30 seconds to, let's say you're somebody who is a spoonie and you don't have the physical ability to do a lot of things, let's say, and you're having a low spoons day. Doing something like envisioning the lesser banishing ritual, right, is still doing something. Now, maybe you aren't physically holding an athame and doing it, but that when we're talking about doing something for yourself every day, it's being put in the subjective context, person to person, on what you're able to do, and therefore that's going to look different for every single person.
Exactly. When I'm having like a bad pain day, even me, like I know your favorite, but just like saying like an affirmation to myself and, practicing shadow work, like
sorry,
actually
had a little bit of phlegm in the back of my throat of how disgusting that word is. Anyway, continue.
But actually letting myself feel upset, that I am hurting and stuff like that, that's spiritual to me, because I'm not like holding anything back. And as part of me stepping into my power and being like, this is it, this is my body. And, I'm handling it. Like I'm facing it. Like spirituality and like being magical looks different for everybody. So just doing something that makes you, the witch, feel personally magical will help your practice, however small it might be during your day.
I will say, if you are able, something that I was given advice. Actually, I think it was you who gave me this advice. Maybe it was Temp. One of you two. One of yous gave me this advice a few years ago.
We're all going to be confused together. This is going to be so much fun.
We are one mega android. One of you gave me advice a couple years ago, which was read for 5 to 10 minutes every day. And doing that and trying to make the conscious effort, even if that reading was reading an article or a opinion piece that somebody shared, something like that, has helped me as a practitioner in such a major way. Because It 5 minutes, when you get in the habit of it, is like, it goes by super quick, and you add up those
and then
5
you keep
minutes.
reading.
Yeah, and then you add up those 5 minutes, and in a month you read an hour or whatever. And I know it's not a lot, but when you're just trying to get yourself into that practice, if you manage the 5 minutes every single day, you're gonna find that it's really gonna help you. And you'll have days, like Maria said, where you keep reading.
Yeah, and on it, like, I find it very helpful, like, as part of that thing, like turning off your phone just for like 10
or even
seconds.
just setting it down and walking away from it.
I have the past month, I give my phone to my wife and I'm like, just take it from me, go hide it somewhere, and just take it, just so I'll have that. And I've been doing more tarot readings for myself. I've been I don't know, just doing like more witchy stuff, and I feel like a lot more fulfilled and stuff. And that's just like part of, stepping away from social media too for a little bit.
I really think, I know we've said this so many times, but I really think that taking some nuance on what practices look like online versus what they actually are is super important, because every person I know that posts spell work online, they are reproductions of the actual thing that they're doing to educate you, not in a sense of, this is what I am doing right now every day. You know what I mean?
Yep. And to kind of like talk about, like you mentioned, reading and stuff like that. I also think like picking a learning style that works best for us individually is like very important. I know many witches who are ADD or ADHD who literally cannot sit down and read a book. Someone who is diagnosed with ADD myself, I fall into that group. But luckily, I have good days where I'm able to do so with no issue. But on the bad days, audiobooks all the way, or even like turning on YouTube to listen to an actual.
So fucking underrated, and I feel like a lot of people forget they exist and don't utilize them, and they should be.
Exactly. And there's a lot of knowledgeable witches out there, and when listening to audiobooks for someone who has ADD, I find multitasking with another thing while listening to an audiobook helps me with focusing. Nothing like strenuous, but something I can mindlessly do with my hands as I listen, like clean or whatever. And I know like some people get more out of classes too than books. Like there's so many amazing ones out there that even by authors whose books you probably want to read but can't sit down long enough to focus on them. I think of it as, just think of it as all the money you are saving on books can be put towards taking a quarterly class or something,
Love quarterly classes. I was actually looking at some myself yesterday.
Me too.
Oh, maybe we'll take one together.
Oh my gosh, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, after. We'll talk about this after.
Study group. Oh, this is so cute.
But yeah, it just I hope these are helpful tips for you guys. And I really think that the big thing is, like I said, developing that relationship in your practice for just sitting with spirit and doing something mindful every single day for your practice, even if that something is envisioning, like I said, like the lesser banishing ritual or something like that. I know that is maybe not something that the internet is going to go, well, that's not real. Like we're keeping things realistic here while simultaneously still doing something every day.
And I think like, the most important thing any witch can do in order to have a thriving practice is to be kind to ourselves. We're all trying to figure things out. Our practices change from time to time. We all go through ebbs and flows. Remember why you started. Most of us start because we found something that deeply resonates with us that, helped us connect with our inner selves. And I think like going back to that helps you find your love for it if you are struggling. And
yeah,
everyone's way too hard on themselves.
They're so mean to themselves, like so mean. Y'all need to learn to like be a little bit nicer to yourselves, and remember that just because there's angry people on the internet that want to yell at you, that doesn't mean that necessarily you're doing anything wrong. And
And we're speaking from experience.
Literally. Literally. I don't know how anybody could ever be mean to me. I am cute as shit, but you know what? They sure tried. Yeah. So, Maria, what's stirring your cauldron this week?
Oh, I miss that voice. Make my toes tingle. Anyways, so I've been loving a lot of herbalism discussion I've seen on like Reels, Instagram, TikTok videos, whatever, like especially from creators like Michelle from Twig and Feather. And I find it just, I know, I love her too. We need to have her back on.
We should. Michelle, if you're listening to this is a formal invitation.
So, you know, herbal work is like a big part of my craft and like my wellness routine. And it's just like so amazing to see many people are sharing their knowledge with others. Mm-hmm. It has made me like really want to buckle down and take an actual herbalism class instead of like just reading books about it, because that's all I've had. And now I do want to say, like, if you are also, you know, enjoying like all these herbalism videos and stuff like that, I think it's important to remember is not the creator's job to inform you of all the side effects. You know, some herb side effects sound like they could have like that mile long list like they have in drug commercials here in the States. And, you know, creators can't fit that in a 3-minute video. And it's up to us, the viewer, to do our own due diligence and ask our doctors about the
pieces of shit. Let me tell you.
You know, just ask your doctors about the herbs that you were taking, or even look up the side effects yourself. And some herbs can even mess with like medications. So it's very important to look that up as well. But regardless, I always feel like that's very important to talk about whenever we talk about herbalism. But it's so interesting. I love learning about all the different health properties of herbs. And it's when you also like take herbalism, learn herbalism in that way, you can actually apply it to spell work. Like on Discord, we were talking about hawthorn berry. And part of its medical properties is that it helps treat heart failure. And I put that into my magical practice as help mending a broken heart. That's how I personally correspond with it. But it's also, its correspondences does deal with love regardless. But yeah, like it's just, I love that side of TikTok and stuff like that. And I could watch it all day. Really good. 10 out of 10.
I love that.
So, Robin, what is not stirring your cauldron right now?
That was really good.
Thank you. I'm phlegmy. So it's like that Phoebe Buffet moment of being phlegmy and singing Smelly Cat and it being like a hit.
Smelly cat, smelly cat. So this is what's stirring my cauldron. And I would like to preface this with the fact that I think that people are being really well-intended when they do this. So this isn't like to be rude, like this isn't to be disparaging or rude to anybody, but lately I keep finding myself on threads and story boosts, etc., where people are using me as an example of a POC creator because I am half Mexican. However, I got all my dad's phenotypical characteristics. I am white-skinned, I have blue eyes, I was a ginger at one point in my life. And so while I am a mixed race person, I am not a person of color. And I get all of the privileges that come with being white. And so what's not stirring my cauldron is the fact that some people are, while well-intended, are actually using up a space on me that they should be using to promote somebody who is a person of color. I don't want to sound like I am ungrateful for people wanting to share this, share me because of this. Because I am grateful and I know that it's really well intended, but I just feel like it should be better utilized for somebody who maybe is a smaller creator, who is a person of color. Like, I am mixed race, but I am white passing to the highest degree, and I get a lot of fucking privilege for that. And I don't want to take up a space that could go to somebody who maybe is a little bit more deserving than me of that. So while I appreciate it, what's not stirring my cauldron this week is that, because you know what I mean? I feel like I'm taking up a space that should go to somebody else, and that doesn't feel very fair. I also feel like,
love that you're mentioning it.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's fair, and I feel like
to talk about.
Yeah, I do have a lot of privilege. I have almost all the white privilege. My culture is still very much Hispanic, and culturally I am very much so a Mexican, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud of like my family and where we're from and all that, but that doesn't negate the fact that I should not be grouped in with people that are people of color because I am fucking white. And that space should be going to somebody who is, and while I appreciate it, like I said, and I don't want anyone to feel like they've done something wrong or anything like that, because they haven't.
No, knowledge
give it
is
to somebody,
power. And then,
give it to somebody
and it's
who
your
is
boundary.
Yeah, give it to somebody who is more deserving of that. Give it to a small creator that you really like. That is a, POC creator. They deserve it. Give them a shout. I've got enough clout, guys. I don't need it. And it should be going to somebody who does, and somebody who fits the description a little bit better than me. So thank you very much. But yeah, let's pass the torch to actual POC creators, because your girl is very white passing. I've got blue eyes, for Christ's sake. I've got skin that burns when I don't wear SPF for more than 5 minutes. So
we call it porcelain. Yes, it is
angelic. It's vampiric, beautiful. Even. But yeah, I do appreciate it. I really want to emphasize that I really do appreciate it, and I know that it's really well intended, and like I see you and I appreciate it, but let's instead boost somebody who is actually a person of color, who's gonna need it a little bit more than me. So thank you. But let's do that. If you have just joined us this week, again, welcome to Coffee and Cauldrons, the greatest podcast on earth. But that being said, every week we talk about creators that we are loving right now. This could be shops, photographers, artists, social media accounts, books, etc. that Maria and I are just digging at the moment. These are things that we find organically on our own, and this is not a space for paid ads. Don't ask us to fucking be on here. If you send us a fucking email that's like, oh, I love your podcast, you don't listen. We know you don't listen. You're a dick. Anyway, and if you do listen and you think that you're special, man, shut up. That's stupid. Anyway, that being said, Maria.
Yes.
Who are you loving right now?
So I'm actually loving my friend's shop, Transcended Trinkets.
Ooh.
And it's like a bone and jewelry shop. And she also makes candles, but the bone jewelry is gorgeous. Like, it's so pretty. And she does an amazing job. Like, her jewelry, I've seen it in person, and it's just so well made and so beautiful. Like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, these candles, are stunning.
And the
How
candles
is this the first time you have
are amazing.
Brought this to my attention, madame. You guys, Maria should have brought this to my attention before, so let's cancel her ass. This girl's the devil.
In a good way. But yeah, I appreciate their craftsmanship. It's very beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Check them out. And the candles. The candles are so good.
So in love. What's good? The candles?
Yes.
Okay,
Like,
I'm
they
gonna
smell
live,
so
laugh,
good.
laugh, love my way into pissing my husband off.
Oh no.
I'm not dropping it in season
You've
3.
said it twice this podcast.
I am not dropping it. I thought about it and I was like, I should drop it. But I think
No.
Live, Laugh, Loving is the season 3 go-to. That's what everybody's gonna be saying. I'm bringing it back, guys. Before this season is over, you're all gonna have decal stickers on your walls that say "Live, Laugh, Love," and you'll be thinking of me. So
We'll all start saying it unironically.
I know.
Anyways.
I
Who
love that for
loving?
you. I am loving a shop called Gems for Ashes. They came up on my page randomly. Somebody liked them that I follow, but I like them now. It's a jewelry company, and they do like silver jewelry with gems and crystals in it. But what I really like is they have these crystals that are like either transparent or semi-transparent. They're like cut gemstones. And behind it, they have like engraved or stamped. I don't know. Like, I'm not a jewelry person, but they've like, stamped designs behind the crystal on the silver.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's so fucking pretty and like just absolutely stunning. Stunning. I'm a huge fan of this stuff. I'd like to get a couple pieces. I don't wear silver myself, but they have a piece that is done with Mexican fire opal, which is one of my favorite stones. And I would like it.
I would like it, please.
I would like it. So I will never wear it because I don't wear silver jewelry, but I would like to own it and look at it and go, ooh, pretty.
I know. I also like faceted, what's it called? Labradorite. Like, so pretty. Oh my God.
So pretty. So yeah, that's who I'm loving right now. I really wish I wore silver sometimes, but I'm allergic to it.
Really?
Yeah. Anything that has
I just don't
any
wear it
amount
because it
of
doesn't
nickel,
go with my skin tone.
anything that has any amount of nickel in it, it like inflames my. I get like blisters.
No thanks.
Yeah, like I'll wear it. Like I have a couple of silver pieces that I wear on like white gold chains or something. But yeah, I really don't like wearing it for that reason. And I don't like wearing white gold because you have to get it like treated semi-regularly. And that is way too much hassle for my lazy ass. So I wear yellow gold for that reason.
No one has time for that.
Who has the time to bring their jewelry into a jeweler and be like, can you dip
People
my white
with
gold?
assistants.
God, I want an assistant.
Me
I'm now
too.
taking applications for an assistant, everyone. I can't pay you, but I will be your friend and I will consensually kiss you. So think about that. You can't just get my kisses anywhere.
That doesn't like it's going to be a suit at all. Like, no one's going to get sued.
I feel like this is the start of like every sexual harassment case ever. And then she told me she would only pay me in kisses and that they had to be consensual. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, jeez.
So
We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode and that you will join us again on Friday, February the 4th for our second episode of season 3. You can keep an eye out on our Instagram or on our Twitter. You can follow us on coffeeandcauldrons.com to find all of our social medias and for more information.
Or even better, you can join us on our Discord tier, which is First Coven on Patreon, so we can answer your questions next time in our part 2. And if you're loving Coffee and Cauldrons, please take a moment to review us on Apple Podcasts and now on Spotify.
Yay!
So, yeah.
You'll even get to hear our lovely, sexy, sensual voices for an additional 30-minute episode-ish for being on our Patreon casting tier and up.
So, again, this is Coffee and Cauldrons.
With Robin from At a Tired Witch on Instagram.
And I'm Maria from @MariaTheArcane on Instagram.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
We're going to start the season off strong. Okay. One, two, three. Five witches! Must be the season of the witch.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing. See, I told you I'd do it. You're all welcome. That's our new intro.
You win.
Bing, 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 bing. Ooh.